So thank you so much, everyone, for coming to today's Computer Forensics Digital and Mobile Certificate Information session. We're excited to have you all today, and you can advance, Malim. So today we're going to be meeting briefly. We won't keep you any more than an hour today. We just want to introduce our team to you and provide you with just a general overview about this program. And then at that point, we'll introduce the instructors and allow them to showcase the program for you. And we will then, after they've shared a portion about the program and our graduates, we'll enter into a time of question and answers. If you have questions, please be sure to type those into the chat box. And then we'll provide you with some registration and contact information, and we'll end with a closing poll. So that's our plan for right now. And so I'm happy to introduce to you our team internally. My name is Danelle Pankratz, and I'm the program manager for this certificate. And I'm joined today by Makata Seyum. She serves as the program coordinator, and she's the main point of contact for our students. We also have very experienced and awesome instructional designers for this course, including Blake Gastrich and Lisa Kraus. So we have a whole team that is backing up this program along with the instructors. Just a little bit about this program. It is fully online, and there are 5 required courses. It takes about 10 months to complete, and it is currently fully online. I'm going to limit the details about the program because I'm going to allow the instructors to expound on those. And so we're joined today by our instructors for this program, Jim Watkins. Jim Watkins is a retired deputy lab director for the FBI, and Jason Weiss is a retired FBI supervisory special agent, senior computer forensic examiner, and digital lab director for the OC Regional Computer Forensics Lab. So combined, they have over 40 years of law enforcement and computer forensic experience. And I am honored to introduce them to you today. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Good. Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Do you want to start, Jim? Or you want me to roll?
I'll let you start.
Okay, first thing is we will take questions about the Unabomber. Every time I do a presentation, when I spent 22 years in the FBI, I always got questions about the Unabomber. So if you really got to know more, just let us know. Basically, my name is Jason Weiss. I just retired out of the FBI after 22 years. 21 of those years spent in the forensics program. I was a senior computer forensic examiner for many of those years. I was a forensic supervisor, and then I was the digital laboratory of the Orange County Regional Computer Forensics Lab, which is one of 16 FBI digital forensics labs. Jim?
I'm Jim Watkins. I was Jason's deputy director for the Orange County RCFL for quite a few years. Jason and I first met back in 1999. I was a detective with the San Diego Police Department. He was a probationary agent. He was young and a lot thinner and had more hair, but that's another story. At the time, he was newly assigned. He was assigned from the FBI. I was assigned from San Diego PD to build the first regional computer forensic lab. That was, gosh, obviously over 20 years ago. In that time, we built that lab, which was so successful. There's now 16 of those labs throughout the country based on our pilot. Jason then got promoted, went to Los Angeles, called me one day and said, "Hey, Jim, remember when we sat in the back and said if we were in charge, we could do better? Well, I'm in charge, man, and I need you to come help me up and build a new lab." So again, I've been working with Jason now for about 20 years. I went ahead and left the San Diego PD in 2005 and went to work for the FBI. And we've kind of working together back and forth 20, 25 years. And it's been just a really good experience. We've built labs, we've trained examiners, we've done some major critical exams. A lot we can talk and yak about, some we can't, obviously. But I think we have a lot to offer.
Yeah, one of the things too, if I could just chirp in, I actually took this program back in 2007 as a student. I started teaching in the program in 2008, and I've been teaching the program since 2008. So it's a great program. Jim has come on in the last few years and has really been a huge improvement to the program, really helping us move the thing forward. Fortunately for you guys, we've just done a massive rewrite of the entire program from class 1 through class 5. So you're getting the very freshest stuff we have to offer.
And one thing with talk just a little bit about what is digital forensics. And really, and one thing you'll find, Jason and I have been team teaching for about 20, 25 years. So we typically will cut each other off and it's just accepted. So he's worse than I am. So we'll just live with it.
Yeah, but I was your boss for most of that time.
Oh yeah, man, you were a fantastic boss, sir. Anyways, what's digital forensics? Really, put it really simply, digital forensics is the preservation, acquisition, and analysis of digital evidence. Jason kind of talks a little bit more about what that means in a practical world.
Yeah, no, basically what the most important thing to understand about this course is in a 5-course period, we can't teach you to be a state-of-the-art computer forensic examiner, but what we can do is we can help you get an entry-level position into the field. And more importantly, I think we'll make you far more competitive than your competition because of the way we structure the program. And like, we're one of the only programs that I'm aware of, if not the only program, that has a hands-on imaging component where we actually send you a write block device, which you get to keep when the class is over. Just a quick breakdown. The course is broken into 5 different classes. Class 1 is more of a foundational, kind of death by PowerPoint, but super important discussion of legal authority, how to write notes, what terminology means, legal ethics, forensic ethics, just basically everything foundational you need for the course. Course 2, we spent a lot of time just doing hands-on imaging. That's all it is. It's just a hands-on imaging course for about a month, where you learn how to image, everything we can teach you to image. Class 3, we teach about various forensic tools and technologies and how they work. Then class 4, it's more of an analytical class where we talk about analytics, how to write reports, how to write notes in more depth, more detail. And then it wraps up in course 5, which is kind of like a capstone practical exercise. Did I sum that up right, Jim?
Yes, you did. A couple of things I want to talk about, just briefly, kind of what digital forensics is, just some real brief case studies. One of the things that we've done work in, we did a lot of work in 9/11. I know that during one of the what we teach and what you learn in the digital forensic course is how to conduct a forensic examination in a very methodical manner. Most people think that you turn the computer on, open it up, go to the My Documents folder and look. Well, if that's what you're looking for, you're going to miss most everything of evidentiary value. We teach a very methodology. We teach a good methodology on how to go in and look at do your forensics.
Now the Unabomber questions.
That's right. During the 9/11, Jason was performing his exam on one of the critical computers we got. I bring that up because we had 4 of the hijackers lived and trained in San Diego, and we had a lot of evidence that they and the people that were supporting them had access to. During one of the computers, Jason was doing his search, and that using his proper methodology, and he found hidden way down out of the ordinary a list of names, addresses, phone numbers for people all over the world. You think that's kind of important? Oh yeah. During a case in Kansas City, there was a man named Dennis Rader, who was also known as the BTK killer. He murdered 10 people through 1974 to 1991, and he'd communicate with the media via letters. Back in 71, during that time, we weren't computers. The case was never solved. They had no leads on who the suspect was. And in 2004, the case actually went cold. And coincidentally, that same year, he suddenly became active, not only of killing again, but he became active and started sending letters to the media. And at one point, he sent a floppy disk with some communications on it after the police assured him that the floppy disk couldn't be traced to him. Well, once they got that floppy disk, a digital forensic examiner at the Kansas City RCFL, the Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory, similar to the one that Jason and I built, did an examination of the disk. Well, the document that he had sent had nothing they could track, but what they did find was an old deleted file. They recovered that deleted file, and in that deleted file was a Word document, and in that Word document is an area called metadata. Whenever you install Word, it asks you to put your name, your initials, and an organization name if you have one in. Well, that information is all recorded And a part of that document you typically don't see. Well, they recovered that metadata, and in it said the name Dennis and Christ Lutheran Church. Well, they handed that information over to the detectives who did some basic searching. They found that there was a Dennis Rader at the Christ Lutheran Church there in Kansas City. They did some more research, found that the Rader's daughter was at the State University. They served a search warrant at the health center where a medical sample of Rader's daughter was. They got that sample. They did a DNA. They found that there was a DNA hit back, or familial hit, that kind of showed that to the DNA they had from the crime scene. Now they're able to get a search warrant. They went, talked to Rader, searched his house. They found evidence. Rader confessed. Boom, case solved. Without that metadata, they had nothing. There's another case Jason solved. Was just a typical case. I mean, we do this kind of thing every day, but it was a homicide, and the detectives had absolutely no leads whatsoever. They were stumped, and Jason take a look at the case, and again, he's using a particular methodology that we teach and that we've been taught when we teach. And by doing the methodology, one of the first things he would do is he would determine when was the last time the computer was used. Well, he determined that computer was used hours after the victim had been killed, the time of death. And the way that the victim was in a like a Barca lounger chair that was he'd been beaten so severely it broke the chair. So the actual back of the chair and the body of the victim was laying in front of the front door. The only way that our victim could get in, or anybody could get in or out of the house, was to move that chair up and then slide under it and get in the house. So Jason determined that somebody was in that house hours after our victim was dead. Did a little bit more did some research, saw that the file that had been accessed was in well, we won't go into a lot of detail, but just basically determined that somebody had gotten into the house and had physically deleted a account off of that computer. And the only person who have done that would have been probably our murderer. So he was able to do some more research and was able to find out the name of the person that deleted the person's account that was deleted, as well as where he was probably living. So the next morning when the detective called and said, hey, and how's everything going? Jason's like, well, I've got your suspect's name and address if you want it. And of course, they had said nothing when they had gone to bed that night before. So again, this is information. This is the kind of thing that forensics is really exciting. It's really kind of a whodunit. I gave just a really short discussion, but it took a lot of work, and it was a lot of picking up the string on Jason's part. Following the string, he made a couple of phone calls to some programmers asking, hey, what does this file do? What does that file do? And so it's one of those things that if you have you kind of have like a knack for wanting to solve things, this is just an outstanding profession for that. There's a lot of things that we'll teach you in this program, because computer forensics is half art, half science. The science is getting that thumb drive, getting that hard drive, getting the computer piece of the cell phone, and being able to get all of the information off that phone without altering it. And that's something that we kind of do the same way every time. The science is like, or I'm saying the art is like what I was talking about with the case Jason was doing. It's kind of, there's a couple more ways to skin a cat, as they say, but there's a fine art when it comes to doing the analytic work.
Hey, Jim, if I could, another thing we're going to talk about in the program is mobile forensics. We'll talk to you a little bit about how cell phone forensics works, CDMA versus GSA type of, phones, how data is stored on cell phones, how data is retrieved from cell phones, stuff like that. So we're going to, like I said, when you leave the program, you won't be ready to, apply for that mid-level forensics job, but you're going to be ready to apply. If, really the purpose of this program in my mind, since a lot of you are already working professionals, is to see if this is a potential career change for you. I've taught probably 200-300 people at least over the years, and quite a few of them have actually changed careers and went into the computer forensics field and have been very successful at it. So this program is a great way to explore whether computer forensics is something you want to do. It's a growing field because almost everything is digital now. I'm willing to bet every single one of you that are on this call have a cell phone, probably have a laptop, an iPad, or some kind of a tablet, computer. Everything is digital now. Everything you do is digital now. So if you're interested in a potential career change, then I'd recommend give the program a try and see what you think.
Some of the people that should take the course, our basic goal in this course, as Jason said, is to prepare folks for an entry-level career in the computer forensic industry. And that's everything from digital forensics. There's also a huge field called e-discovery. And right now, any lawsuit of any importance these days involves email, digital files, and and to have those items presented as evidence, they have to be extracted by a kind of a third-party professional, which is somebody who's an expert in e-discovery. That field is huge. This course will prepare you for that field as well. Other things that we're looking for is basically people for just basic computer skills. We don't need you to come in with advanced computing skills to take the class. As a matter of fact, Jason and I have most of our experiences teaching police officers and special agents with basic computer skills on how to do digital forensics. We're also looking for IT professionals that want to change, just basically do a career change and get into digital forensics. And basically come one, come all. This is basically, it is a Windows-based program. Yeah. And we would tell you is that what you do need for the course is a laptop or a computer. We've had some people in the past try using a tablet, and it worked out so poorly they had to end up buying a computer halfway through the course.
Yeah, you don't need a super robust
tablets.
laptop, but a
Correct.
laptop or a desktop running Windows 7 or Windows 10 will get you where you got to go.
And basic computer skills are fine. You don't need to be, again, we want to stress the whole idea is getting someone with some basic computer skills and kind of get you that little bridge between to an entry level career.
If one last point, if I could, before we get some questions, is what makes this course unique from our perspective is that, with all due respect to Jim and I, we've been doing this thing for almost 40 years between the two of us, doing computer forensics for the FBI, for state and local, in a task force environment. I probably worked close to 1,000 cases in my career. I'm sure Jim has worked just as many. You're getting the real world, and you're going to get real world experiences, real world stories, and we know what you need to do to prosper and do well in this profession. I've hired many computer forensic examiners in my career. We're going to do everything we can to help you break into this field if that's what you want to do.
And some things that really when Jason teaching put us aside, is as Jason said, we have 40 years of FBI experience as examiners. We've done thousands of cases or thousands of pieces of media that we've done hands-on examinations of. We've been involved in critical cases, 9/11, the anthrax case, the recent San Bernardino shooting, a lot of huge terrorists. Jason's been all over the world as a special agent doing cases and teaching. Jason's done a lot of teaching overseas. We have that experience between the two of us, between Jason's work as a special agent, my work as a police detective. We kind of bring a unique experience that kind of help complement each other's skills over the years. We've helped pioneer the national standards through the regional computer forensic laboratories, where we don't work just federal cases, we work local cases. Even though Jason's been a special agent and a supervisor, he's worked with some would consider very small and minor cases. But we work the entire gamut. I mean, you can't believe the type of cases that have computer evidence in. Between the two of us, we have built 4 digital evidence laboratories. We've built San Diego lab, the Orange County lab, the Riverside lab, the Ontario lab. We've both built and managed them for over 7 years as managers, in addition to being examiners. We've trained, between the two of us, we've been extensively involved in the FBI's training program. We both taught at the FBI Academy at Quantico. We've taught hundreds of basic computer skills for our digital evidence, or the evidence response team. The guys that go out and do search warrants and look for just general evidence. We've taught them how to handle computers.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're getting a slew of questions in. So
Good.
As soon as you're done.
Rattling through real fast. And again, we've just got that experience. Again, talking about Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton's got the best digital forensic program, I think, out there. It's a hands-on class. We do everything with PowerPoint, minimal actually of PowerPoint. We have a lot of very detailed handouts. We send you digital media. We send you equipment to actually make those images that you can keep. We then teach you how to do analysis. It's hands-on. We have casework that we have you do throughout the entire class. Our last class, I think, which was our best class, the most updated one, I should say, the class was really excited by how we taught everybody. We would teach a concept. We'd then say, okay, here's the sample case that we're running. We'd have people apply what they learned to that case. So it was a typical hands-on case of things that you would do in the field.
Why don't we get to the question so everybody can
Sure.
get their question answered? Danelle, did you have any particular order you want to do it in?
Hi, this is Makata. So we have a
Oh,
question. It states, do you need a background in law enforcement or other type of background to be successful in the program?
Absolutely not.
No, you just need to want to learn it and be patient and put the work in. I mean, law enforcement law enforcement's a big employer of computer forensic examiners, but if you want to stay private sector, that's where the e-discovery stuff comes in. There's plenty of work there as well.
And reason we have you see a lot of law enforcement in this is it was actually the computer forensic field was actually created and started by special agents and police officers. It actually started as a more of an investigative function than it did a laboratory function. And then about 10, 15 years ago, it slowly started to phase over from the field doing investigative work to a laboratory model. So that's why you will see a lot of the law enforcement questions. And Jason and I obviously have a law enforcement background, but we've taught an awful lot of non-law enforcement people. The regional computer forensic lab that Jason and I ran and Jason built, we worked. We have a combination of both law enforcement folks and also for non-law enforcement folks. And we typically, it's a great combination. So no, it isn't, it is not at one point it used to be all law enforcement. It no longer is, as it shouldn't be. So yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Jim. What's next?
Thank you, Jason and Jim. So the next question is, what is the oldest student you have ever had in your course?
You know what? That's a good question, but I think we skipped one up top, which I think is critical actually, is how many days per week is the class and how many hours per day? What's important to understand about this program is it's recorded. Everything you're going to watch is basically either a recording and stuff, so you can do the program on your schedule, which I think is critical. Now, Jim and I do hold office hours, usually once a week. Sometimes we'll do a special session if somebody has a conflict. But for those that are worried about working the program with their schedule, you don't need to, because you can do this completely on your time frame. The lectures are not live. Lectures are taped, but the questions and the time with Jim and I are live. So hopefully that helps. Jim, did you have anything you want to add?
No, I agree, Jason. I think that is probably one of the greatest things. Cal State Fullerton has just been outstanding in giving us kind of our the ability to put the office hours where we want the office hours. We can go as long as we want, which, and you can probably tell Jason, we're a little talkative, me a little more than poor Jason sometimes. But we're more than welcome, we're more than happy to make the office hours when it's most convenient. I mean, the last class, we had it one day, and after we talked to everybody, we agreed to move it to another day because it was more convenient for folks. The other thing, Jason and I are very accessible during some of the courses where some of the stuff gets a little tricky. I can't tell you how many phone calls and emails I got or text messages that say, I'm running some trouble. I'll make a phone call. Hey, let's work this through, and we'll get you through it. So that is probably one of the largest advantages of the Cal State program, Cal State Fullerton program, is that it's very, very flexible. And again, you can do it on your time, and we understand, you guys are busy, and I'm retired. Jason's is working full time, but we are always able to, one of us is going to be able to get to you in a reasonable time and get your problem solved, because we want to keep everybody, moving ahead with us at the same time. Our goal is to let nobody fall behind. Yeah,
in terms of the oldest student, there is no age problems here. I've had students in their 60s take the course, and they loved it because they were looking to do this as a retirement career. Don't let your age be an impediment. You're never too old to learn. So if this is something you want to do, this is why the program's designed, to really make that determination. I'll be honest with you, after the first or second class, you'll know if this is for you. You know what I'm saying? And this, really, don't worry about your work schedule. Don't worry about your age. Those are two things we work around pretty well in this program.
Thank you so much. Next question. If I was interested in working in cybercrime in the FBI, would this be enough to start with, or would I need an advanced degree in computer science? My major is criminal justice.
You want me to start with that one, Jim?
Sure.
If you want to be an agent, It's a different set of rules for being, like, I was an agent, Jim was not. Jim was professional support because he came to us sworn from the San Diego PD. So he had already done his door knocking, as it were. But long story short, if you want to be an agent working cybercrime in the FBI, you have to have a 4-year degree. That's a requirement. If you want to be a professional support person, you still have to have a 4-year degree to work in the FBI. That is a requirement. Is it enough to, your major is great. They don't really care what major you're in. If you want to get into cybercrime, then obviously the more computer type oriented programs and classes you have is always a good thing. But just so you know, outside of the FBI and a lot of law enforcement, if you don't have a 4-year degree, they don't care. They hire people who are skilled. The FBI sometimes gets a little hung up on credentials and diplomas and stuff. Most importantly, at the end of the day, when you leave this program, you'll be trained and prepared to work for any law enforcement organization in the country, to be honest with you, in terms of whether it be federal, state, or local. I think that's a fair statement. Jim?
I agree with Jason. I think it also depends on, we had the last person we took, one of the people in the last class, she was also interested in, one of the things we were going through, and she was very curious in the FBI has a huge group of analysts, and they do require a degree, but it also, you may want to change the focus of your current degree. You may look at it, we may help steer you in a direction, put you in contact with some people. But the bottom line is yeah, for the FBI, they definitely want degrees. But again, the FBI, the FBI has out of the 700,000 police officers, law enforcement officials in the country, only about 30,000 belong to the FBI. The rest are all municipal and state agencies, and most of those have cyber components.
Right.
That's
Plenty of
just,
cyber is the future, no question.
it is.
Next question, please, Makeda.
Thank you. Next question, besides PC running Windows, what prerequisites of skills, knowledge, or classes do you recommend?
It would be great if you knew how to circumvent around an operating system. You knew where the start bar was, and you knew what My Documents was, and you know how to open and close your email. But to be perfectly honest with you, this is an entry-level program. We don't expect you to have excellent skills. It's just a desire to learn how to do this stuff and be prepared to put the time in to get good at it if that's what you're interested in. A lot of what you do is self-study. We're gonna give you exercises in terms of how you image, how you write reports, how you write notes. How much you learn from it is how much effort you put into it. Really, it's kind of one of those self-fulfilling prophecies in that regard.
Hey, Jason, real fast, could you describe we've mentioned imaging several times.
Well, imaging is when you actually create a copy, what we call a forensic copy of a device. The device that, media is made up of sectors, and you'll learn all this when you take the course. But basically, we teach you how to do what are called physical images, which is when you image a device from the very first sector of the device to the very last. We'll teach you about logical imaging, where you just take copies of actual files from people, and you're going to learn all about slack space, unallocated space. You're going to learn all this stuff. Most of this we'll cover in terminology-wise in class 1, as a matter of fact. So imaging, what makes this program great, I think, is if you look at all the other computer forensic programs around the country, none of them offer imaging. It's all lecture and theory and stuff, which is great, but we actually purchase a write blocker for you as part of your tuition. We mail it to your house, and then we provide you videos, how-tos, office hours, and you learn how to image stuff real world, and you get to keep it when you're done. So you can practice.
Like Jason, we do it during the office hour. Like the week we do the imaging, we have a very detailed handout we've created.
Yeah.
Everybody said, wow, that pretty much, I just followed the handout and I was able to do the first one exactly, boom, done. The first office hours after that, we just, what we're going to do, let's just make sure everybody does it, just in case people are too embarrassed to say they couldn't follow along. We're going to share a screen and we'll show you exactly how we did it. And we had a couple of people say, yeah, hey, thanks. This is helping, like, making things a little clearer. But again, we just step that stuff through, boom, 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 until we're sure you get it.
Next question.
Thank you so much. The next question is, if you are enrolled at CSUF, could you get credit for the courses in our current transcript? I can answer. Oh, go ahead.
That's above. I was going to say that's above my pay grade. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yeah. So basically, students who complete this program do not receive academic units or credit, so they cannot be transferred to a degree. So students receive CEUs, which are continuing education units.
Okay.
And then
What-
the next question, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Next question, please.
Can you share what career opportunities are in the private sector?
Yeah, that's a great question. Basically, probably most of your opportunities, believe it or not, are going to be in the private sector, because cybersecurity companies, forensic companies that are privately owned and privately run, they're the people that you're going to be looking. By having this certification, you're going to stand out, I hope, from others who are entering this field. You know, Cal State Fullerton's a real school. It's not some program no one's ever heard of, and some degree from some school no one even knows what the initials stand for. This is a real school. Jim and I have been in the FBI a long time. We've done a lot of this stuff. When you take this program and then certification out, you go out to the private sector, I think you're going to have a really good chance at trying to get yourself in there. There are a lot of companies that are looking for entry-level people that can do basic forensics, basic e-discovery, because to do e-discovery, you have to do forensics. Forensics is a subset of e-discovery in that regard. So they're all tied together. There's going to be a lot of opportunity out there, I think, in the next decade or so.
You've got, if you just look around, you'll find, like we talk about e-discovery, you've got law firms. You have all the big accounting firms have extensive e-discovery. Again, all your law firms all have e-discovery. You've got police departments, you've got municipalities, you've got a lot of universities have their own forensic areas. Anybody that operates a large network is going to want to have someone with computer forensic experience. And it's just, again, because the field is huge. And then Jason mentioned cybersecurity. Cybersecurity and digital forensics go hand in hand. It isn't typically one that does the other, but sometimes you have, well, actually there's two different models. You'll have some where you have the forensic people that do just the forensics, others that have the cyber investigators do just the cyber. And then you have some that have got people that do both. One of the things when you're looking at getting into the field of either forensics or cyber is you kind of want to get in the ground field at one ground floor in one way. And so a lot of guys will go ahead and start in digital forensics and decide, hey, this cyber is really cool. Well, once they start getting into the cyber world, one of the things they say, if you're looking for cyber jobs, the computer forensic background is going to give you a huge leg up on somebody that doesn't have that cyber or that digital forensic experience.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, Jim, I'm sorry to interrupt. We just have a ton of questions. We have.
Oh, go ahead. Go. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you so much. So this is kind of, I'm going to combine two questions. Is there a state test or do I get a certificate after completing courses? Are there intern hours to complete, and will I be able to take the certification exam after this course?
Yeah, there's no certification exam. To get the Cal State Fullerton professional certificate, you have to complete the program successfully. Simple, end of story. Yeah, there's not. There are two national certification programs that you can do if you want to. That's something we talked about in the first class called A+ and Net+. But as a general rule, you're being certified by Cal State Fullerton as having successfully completed the program and being trained.
The other thing this course will do is it'll prepare you to, if you want, there are some national certifications for digital forensics out there. Trying to take those cold is very difficult. This program will prepare you to take those to go through an additional program to take those exams, which will give you, a national certification.
Yeah, there's a great question I saw that I think I want to make sure we don't miss. Yeah, well, if you work full time, will this course be too much? The answer to that is most of the students that take this course are working full time. Very few are actually students right out of the undergrad program. Most of the folks that we've had in the program over the last 13, 14 years are working professionals that are considering a career change into this field. If the program is too much, that really is a person by person kind of determination. That's why we record the program, so you don't have a conflict with work and coming to class, so you can take the class on your own schedule. There is a bunch of work to do in the program. Some of it's simple, some of it's more complex, some of it's light, some of it's heavy. It all changes based on what we're doing, but the short answer is no. If you're motivated to do the program, you should have no problem getting through it. And the course is graded, but once again, I don't know if since it doesn't apply for academic credits from a Cal State Fullerton standpoint, I don't know how that affects your Cal State Fullerton GPA or anything like that. I don't know that.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I think that the last question that we'll take for now, and then we'll move into some registration information, is approximately what is the entry level salary in this field?
That's a great question. Uh, that's a great question. That changes constantly. It's gotten better over the years as it's become more popular. I don't want to say something and be held to it, but I would expect most companies you're probably going to be that $50,000 to $70,000 range. I'm guesstimating a little here as an entry level position, but there's a lot of room for growth in this field. I mean, if you get good at this, you can pretty much write your own check because there are so few people that are really good at forensics. It takes a while. I'm not going to lie. You really have to put some work, and you got to work a lot of cases to get good at it and learn the methodology. Jim?
If you get one of the federal jobs and you can get to one of the senior positions, which actually, if
Oh
you
yeah.
if you use work, when I retired, I was a GS-13. I was making about $120,000. Some federal agencies you can get to a 14 as a support and make about maybe 120, 140,000. So it's out there. You just have to look and you have to just kind of work to get there.
You have to have the
Thank you.
background.
Mhm.
Thank you, gentlemen. I will ask one last question that just popped up in the chat. Two people seem to be asking the same question. How has traveling been in your careers working for the FBI? And have you been able to maintain that work-life balance with your family?
Oh, I mean, one thing about the FBI, if you want to travel, you can travel. I mean, I've been all over the country. I've been all over the world when I was with the Bureau. I've been to 7 or 8 different countries teaching cyber and forensics programs. If you feel like your work-life balance is affected, you just ask them to maybe travel a little less. Some jobs you have very little travel. Our job, the one Jim and I did, we had an opportunity to travel quite a bit. But I would say, Jim, would you agree, a lot of it was voluntary and a lot of it was training. One of the things that was amazing about the FBI CART program, which is what Jim and I were in, Computer Analysis Response Team, doing forensics, is they had a lot of money for training. So we traveled all over the country for years and years. I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,500 hours of forensic training. Would you say that's about right, Jim?
Yeah, but I think also one of the things important, I don't have kids, so mine, I'm a little more flexible. Jason's got 2 kids, and he had kid, those kids basically grew up when he started in the forensic program and until now they're, one's college age, one's just getting out of high school, and he's always been able to, he's done a lot of travel, he's done a lot of work, and very active, but he's always been able to balance. I mean, I got to give him a hats off. He's always been able to manage. Sorry, my dog's running in the background. He's always been able to
You're a
manage
parent.
that work. What's that? Yeah,
You're a parent.
it's right. But he's always been able to manage that life, the work, home life, and he's done a really good job of managing it. But that's with any profession, any job, where you're gonna, you take seriously, it's gonna take some work. And my hats off to any of you that do that.
Awesome.
I'm
Thank you
lazy. I got
both.
it easy. I got just a dog and a couple of horses. Just throw them some hay and the horses are happy.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for sharing your insights about this program. And if for any reason we didn't get to your question, we will provide our contact information in the next couple of slides.
Hey, Danelle, can I just address one question somebody asked, because I think it's critical?
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the students says, I have a conflict in the summer. Would I be able to take the class again? Generally, the course is designed to take all 5 classes in a row. To get the certificate, you have to complete all 5 classes. If you have to miss a class, that doesn't mean you can't do the program. I've dealt with students who have missed a class, and basically, to be honest with you, Jim and I will just catch a lot of what you need to learn up on our time. We'll meet with you privately, but just understand you can't get the certificate unless the rules have changed, unless you complete all 5 classes. So you could do 4 of the 5 classes, but then you'd be stuck waiting a year to get to the 5th class again. So just, I don't know, Danelle, unless that rule has changed, that's how it's always worked.
That's correct. Yeah, you do need to complete all 5 classes in order to obtain the certificate. So thank you so much for clarifying that, Jason. I do just want to give you all a little bit of information about how to register for this program. The link for learning more about this program and each of the courses and to register is located at the bottom of this slide. So you'll see it there, extension.fullerton.edu/professional development, certificates, and /computer forensics digital and mobile. I know that's quite
Take a picture.
a long link, but it is very easy to find. So I do want to reiterate that this program is online, and so you can also register online by simply adding to cart. You'll see that the first class that we have, Introduction to Computer Forensics Methodology, is beginning on March 15th. So you'll be welcome to register for that class. Now registration is open, and will allow registration all the way up until about a week before the start date. We do encourage you to enroll within a week prior to the start date so that we can make sure that we have your portal set up and you've got everything squared away in time for the class to start. If you have any questions about how to register, you're welcome to email our student services office at eipconnect, eip-connect at fullerton.edu. And you are welcome to register for one class at a time. You don't have to register for the entire program at once. You can register for one class at a time or for two classes at a time. And we can advance to the next slide. And so here's our contact information. So if you did find that if we didn't answer your question today during today's session, then we can definitely email us at any time. And Makara's information is listed there. Her email address is msayum@fullerton.edu. And my email address is dpancratz@fullerton.edu. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us and we'll be happy to assist you. And I believe we had just one last slide.
Ooh,
So we just want to
pretty.
thank you all. Our beautiful campus that we're not at right now, but there are some people there. But we look forward to welcoming you as a Titan to this program, and certainly appreciate you taking this time out of your busy day to join us. So thankful to our instructors, Jason and Jim, for sharing their insights and their expertise about the program today and answering those questions. Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email them to Makara and I will launch our last poll just to close us out. I'm launching that poll now. It's just 2 quick questions, and then we'll close out for the day and allow you to enjoy your afternoon.